Oh, damn. Pretty serious topic I'm about to get into. You already know who it is. See the character, never the amateur, always comfortable in front of the camera. Today we're going to be talking about the N-bomb. Now, as far as I'm concerned and what history has shown me is that the N-bomb has never been used as a term for endearment. Anybody who was called the N-bomb in around 400 odd years ago has always been considered a black slave. It was never used to give us any kind of power. Now, I have to admit, I am guilty of calling other people the N-bomb, but at the same time, I am a victim of being called it. And around a year or two ago, I started to realize how stupid it was that we even call ourselves the N-word. And I'm beginning to see more and more the problems and why we even call ourselves the N-word. For instance, it creates ignorance. Not to mention when you use it for yourself and to mention others, you belittle yourself and them. Let's just look at it from the top of the food chain. The N-word, founded by a racist. To me, a racist is an ignorant person. They know no better, so they say ignorant things. One of the ignorant things they said was the N-bomb. They dropped it on black folks. Black folks have then thought they can twist it and use it as a term of endearment. But this is where it makes no sense. For example, black person calling another black person the N-bomb. Sometimes you feel a little bit discredited, a little bit belittled, sometimes even completely insulted. Just because you know in reality that is what you are not. But dare a white person call a black person an N-bomb nowadays. You know something finna pop off. Somebody's getting mad. That white person's a racist. Now put this into perspective. You spend all day calling yourself a real nigga. You the man on your block, you selling and you doing what you do and you a real nigga. But yet when somebody addresses you by something you address yourself as, you're mad. Regardless of the color of their skin, you're mad at them for addressing you for something you see yourself as. A real nigga. Tell me where that makes sense. Now some of you are sitting there like, yeah, but when white people used to use it, it was to call black folks a slave. So what are you using it for? What are you saying about the person that you kick it with? I have people around me who I would consider my homeboys, my dogs, my homies. Literally because all of those terms mean friend, pal, buddy. Nigga could only ever mean one thing, and it will never be a term of endearment. Now the one thing that hit me was the fact of all the things I see in the news against black people, like police officers murdering black people. But I can only help but think we brought it upon ourselves. For every time we've called ourselves a nigga, or mentioned our friends as niggas, or we've looked at our own families and said, these are my niggas. The word in itself still holds the title it held 400 and some odd years ago. For every time you've dropped the N-bomb on yourself, it only takes a racist cop to look at you and say, if he sees himself as a nigga, I'll treat him as a nigga. Niggas are easily disposable. When slaves were coming on the ship, they cared nothing about tying them to weights and throwing them off. Reason being, because a nigga is easily disposable. So when you running up and down in your neighborhood screaming the word, calling yourself a real nigga, don't be surprised when the police want to kill you. A racist Fed is only looking at you as the same way they looked at niggas years ago. And this is where I bring the endearment into action. Remember the fact that black folks actually come from royalty. Remember we were kings and queens in Egypt. Remember we were the first ones to study the stars and the constellations. Remember we had gold, diamonds, books of teaching. Imagine if we spent our time calling black men kings. Imagine if we spent the time calling black females queens. Imagine the amount of positive energy we would put out into the world. Especially at a time when you are now seeing white folks drop the N-bomb in Vines, Instagram videos, YouTube videos. Basically the word means nothing now. But you'll still get offended when called it by another race or even by your own. With that being said, I'm C the character, never the amateur, always comfortable in front of the camera saying peace.